Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back. So now, and we're now in October now. Now it's time to start reviewing a lot of horror slash thriller movies for Halloween month. And hope you enjoy because I pre-recorded quite a few of them. Hope you enjoy these upcoming horror Halloween month reviews. For October. So let's get right down to the first one now. And what better way to start off with another classic one, another classic from Stephen King, and which this I thought was another classic movie, and that was of Stephen King's, starting off with Misery, which I figured I'd review this because it stars James Caan, who recently passed away not that long ago. I think it was like a month or two ago now. So sadly, James Caan. He just recently passed away. May he rest in peace. James Caan is a good actor, and he did a really good job as playing the author Paul Sheldon. Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes, phenomenal performance. She deserved her Oscar as playing as the villainous Annie Wilkes. She did a really great job. And it's directed by Rob Reiner, who directed previously. It was Stand By Me, also from Stephen King, and also A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. One of the most quotable lines of all time. And sadly, though, he directed it in '94. He directed North with Elijah Wood and Bruce Willis in a bunny suit. Yeah. Yeah, Rob Reiner directed that movie, though, but Rob Reiner, he did a good job directing, which I've heard some things he says nowadays, which I'm not getting into politically, though, which I'm not going to talk about that way is politics or whatever. I'm talking about him as a director, and as a director, I think he did a really good job as directing Misery. And which, by the way, I had this little thing here, which could show him with her using the sledgehammer. I thought that was kind of neat. But he did a good job directing this film, and also among the cast you have Frances Sternhagen, which she was also in Outland with Sean Connery, and later starred another Stephen King movie in Stephen King's The Mist. And also Richard Farnsworth as the sheriff. I thought he was good in this. Nice. He plays the nice friendly sheriff, And also you have a special appearance by Lauren Bacall, who plays as James Caan's Paul Sheldon's agent, I think, or manager. So Lauren Bacall has an appearance in this. And Paul Sheldon, in the movie, James Caan as Paul Sheldon, he's an author who famously writes these Misery books. And one night it's very snowing, he gets in a car accident, and he wakes up in this house by himself. And basically he's being held against his will, though, basically, by Annie Wilkes, played by Kathy Bates, who is his #1 fan, who's read all of his Misery books, and is a huge fan of him. But and Kathy Bates, it plays on the epitome of an over-the-top obsessed fan, psychopathic obsessed fan. The whole obsessed fan thing, and people are just being how people are nowadays, being overly so obsessed with everything, which especially we write on Twitter. When people say things on the media nowadays, like Twitter, Facebook, and all that stuff, which, good thing for me, I don't use any of that stuff. I don't use Twitter, I don't use Facebook or anything, I don't use that, because I don't, you say some things, you get your ass chewed out if you say the wrong things about, especially with films, oh, you like this movie, you're an idiot, Hey, I've gotten hate for, I've gotten a lot of hate for a lot of things and what I say about certain movies, That's why I read them in the comments, But the thing is, though, she plays the epitome of what an obsessed fan is. Especially with crazy people nowadays. No, she takes it way over. She tops that. And especially with Kathy Bates, she starts off being very nice and all that stuff, and taking care of him. But the thing is, though, she is just a flat out crazy bitch, and which Kathy Bates sold it. You know, she just, and that's why she deserved her Oscar. You know, for playing. Which the thing is, though, this is one of the times that I keep harping on the Oscars, you know, because nowadays Oscars are just so woke and politically, you know, that's why people don't watch the Oscars nowadays, because that's why their ratings are getting so lower and lower and are low down to nothing, you know. And with back then, this is why I thought the Oscars did it right, you know. She deserved her Oscar for playing a psychopath, and the same thing the next year after that, you know, in '91. Anthony Hopkins won an Oscar for playing the psychopathic Hannibal Lecter. This is back then when I thought the Oscars were right, did things right, you know. But and she deserved it. And James Caan, he did a really good job too, you know, and just how, like you see in the poster, just in this house, isolated, you know, just basically miles away from the town, you know. And she wants to keep him all to himself because since she's so obsessed with him. And then when she chose her true colors, you know, how she gets upset because the last book he did on Misery, he killed off the character, and she didn't like that, you know, showing almost like the real side of her. And, you know, she kind of, you know, she doesn't want to swear, you know, she's like, oh, you cockadoodie, or you poo, whatever she's saying to whoever, you know. She just doesn't want to swear, right? And she has a pig named Misery, but she was mad when she killed off the character. So basically, now she's helling him against his will until when she writes, making him write a new Misery book to resurrect the character. And just the whole thing is just because quite a few people are offered before James Caan, yeah, like Jack Nicholson or Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. I guess they kind of like regrets but passing up on the roles though. But James Caan played it well, you know. Yeah, like you say, because he's the whole time his character is lying in bed though. I mean, he could do a lot more. He does a lot more than just without the use of his legs, you know. I mean, he's like sneaking around the house, you know, and which Annie Wilkes is picking up on that, you know, thinking you're doing things, you know, and up until the point, you know, just the famous scene, which it still makes me cringe. It is one of the most cringe-inducing scenes I've watched. It is, if I were to put one of the most cringiest scenes scenes I've seen in films, this will be on there, because the whole thing when she breaks James Caan's ankles, when she breaks his ankles, that just made me like, oh, you know, just for the first when she takes the first swing on the first ankle, you know, when you see that ankle just goes limp when she breaks it, you see the ankle just go limp like that, just like go, oh, just with the bone when she with the impact, and just like when him screaming in pain, you know, that just makes me want to hold my ankle, you know, makes me want to feel that. That was such a really intense scene right there, and she goes and breaks the other one, you know, and then she goes and says, "Oh God, I love you." Just when the camera pans to her close up like this, "Oh God, I love you." Just like she just souls it very well, you know, as a pure psychopathic, obsessed fan, you know. Just like she breaks the ankles, you know, it's for the best. She did an awesome job. And then when he finally completes the book, well, going back with the sheriff, Richard Farnsworth, you know, sad about him though, because he was such a nice guy, you know, and trying to help this investigation find Paul Sheldon, right? And he was a little bit suspicious of what Annie Wells when he finds out more information about her background, you know, how she used to be a nurse at this institution, this hospital, and which occurred a little dealing with like deaths of children, right? What was her backstory on that though, right? Oh, I forgot to mention, going back with the whole ankle breaking scene, right? Originally in the book, in the novel, in the book, she cuts off his legs. I'm glad they went this way, the whole ankle breaking with the sledgehammer, because that would lead to something, how he could survive with that much blood loss. So Yeah, I get she's a nurse though, but it's better they went this way, you know. And apparently that I guess Stephen King likes this movie because he's been overly critical of some of his previous films. Not now, but back then, like he hates The Shining, he hates Stephen King, he hates Graveyard Shift, he hates like I said The Shining he hates the most because it was completely different from what. Yeah, but he hates Graveyard Shift, he hates Silver Bullets, I think he did, and he hates, like I said, The Shining I keep mentioning. What else? Well, he hates his own movie, Maximum Overdrive. I'm like, Stephen King, come. I know he has his own opinion, though, but I'm sorry. I love The Shining. Stanley Kubrick did a phenomenal job. Yeah, he was a very strict director, which, unlike directors nowadays, which that I give him credit for, you know, sticking to his own guns, you know. It's like my way or the highway, basically. And guess what? The Shining turned out to be, to me, it's a masterpiece because it's one of those. It is cemented in one of the greatest horror films of all time. But Stephen King, he hates his own movie because it's completely different from his book. I'm sorry, but I love The Shining. I reviewed that. You can check that out. I love Maximum Overdrive. Okay, I'm sorry. You did a good job. I thought you did. Yeah. There's issues you say though, but I love Maximum Overdrive. The Green Goblin truck, the kick-ass soundtrack by AC/DC, Emilio Estevez, a lot of good practical things that happen in the movie, explosions, bazooka gunfire, you know. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're seeing though. I'm sorry. I love Maximum Overdrive. I love Stephen King's. I love Graveyard Shift. A lot of practical stuff in that movie. I'm sorry. And I like Stephen King's Silver Bullet, Gary Busey and Corey Haim, you know. Although he does like Carrie, he does like Stand By Me. That's why they asked Rob Reiner to do Misery. That's why. And then he likes all these the new recent things he's been liking. I'm like, whatever. Stephen King. I'm sorry. I like Stephen King though, but just I love Christine. I like Cujo. I think he also likes Cujo as well. But I love Cujo. I love Christine. I like Carrie as well. I love Graveyard Shift, Maximum Overdrive, Silver Bullet. What else? The Mangolier with Robert Englund. I like the Mangolier. The Dead Zone too. I like the Dead Zone. But I don't get some of his critique sometimes, though. I mean, at least I love The Shining. And I even like the sequel, Dr. Sleep, from 2019. I even like that sequel. But here, but Misery was really good, though. And just going back, like I said, the sheriff, Buster, his name is. He's doing background on Annie Wilkes, and he goes visits her house. And then when he leaves, he hears a noise because Kathy Bates drugged James Caan, put him down in the cellar though, but he knocks over a grill, getting the sheriff's attention, and when he finds him, she shoots him. Good blood squib when he gets shot though. I was like, oh damn. It kind of reminds me of The Shining when the cook, you know, he was wondering what was going on, but by the time he gets there, he dies. The same thing here. When the time he figures something out, he dies. Sad to see him die. He seemed like a nice old man, you know, a nice sheriff, you know, but then he dies sadly. And then, by the time when he's right, when Paul Sheldon, James Caan, he finishes the book, and then by the time he wants to do a toast, right? Because also that Kathy Bates has a gun. She saves 2 bullets, you know, one for her and one for him, right? And she wants to give him an extra glass, you know, to do a toast together, right? And then he sets the whole he's ready to set the whole manuscript on fire, and wondering how will they get together? Will they not? It's all right here. Lights the match, and Kathy Bates, Paul, don't do it. And then James Caan says, why not? I learned it from you. Sets the whole thing on fire. No, not my misery. No, not my misery. And then James Caan lifts because he's been lifting the typewriter to build arm strength, right? Just hits her in the head with it, and he just goes and tackles her. Well, first she shoots him in the shoulder, and bangs his head, and she's gonna gouge out her eyes, you know, and then and then she does a palm hand strike, and just tackling her, fighting on the floor. And I love how he just takes the burnt ashes of the paper and just shoves it down her mouth. Like, you want it? Eat it! Eat it till you choke! You sick, twisted fuck! I love that. He just goes to just tells her, you want it? Eat it! And then uses his legs to trip her, and then makes her fall on the typewriter. And one thinks she's dead though, but she's not. And then he takes that metal pig and just beats her face into it, and that's what kills her. Although it's funny that how he's able to how he was able to get found, that's the question, because it's now cuts to 18 months later. I'm like, how did he ever get found? Because he can't use his legs to drive a car. But anyway, yeah, that's a nitpick though. But that's irrelevant though to me, because 18 months later he's now up and walking. He meets with his agent or manager, Lauren Bacall, and talk about his newest book. And he's thinking that how Annie Wilkes in a way helped him, And he's asking, and then Lauren Bacall is asking, like, would you like to make a nonfiction about what happened in that house? And then James Caan's like, oh gee, Marsha is like, you tell me that I drudge up the most horrible thing in my life just to make a few bucks. And like he sees this waitress bringing the dessert car, right? As Kathy Bates, where it's like, you know what, I still see her once in a while. And this woman is not her though, but it's just another lady saying, "Oh, hey, you're Paul Sheldon, right? I'm your #1 fan." He's like, "That's real sweet of you." Yeah, Misery. It's another Stephen King classic. I mean, like I said, Kathy Bates, she did a phenomenal job as the crazy Annie Wilkes. She deserved her Oscar. She did. James Caan, he did a really good job too. And I miss James Caan. May he rest in peace. I miss James Caan. This to me is one of his most iconic roles in Stephen King's Misery. Rob Reiner did a good job. The screenplay by William Goldman was good too. The score, who did the score for this? Mark Scheinman. I think he was pretty good too. The whole thing with the whole sledgehammer that breaking the ankles, that was the most cringy things I've ever watched. Just seeing the first ankle just go limp like that, I was like, oh. Still, like, makes me want to grab my ankles like that. It's like, oh, I feel that, But yeah, that was very encouraging. I mean, Frances Sternhagen, who is as the sheriff's wife, she was fine. I liked her in Outland, and I liked her in The Mist. Richard Farnsworth as the sheriff, I liked him too. The nice, friendly, kind sheriff. But sadly he died though. Sucked though. But James Caan and Kathy Bates, they were really great. And like I said, Kathy Bates, she deserved her Oscar. Misery is another classic. So that's why at first I wanted to kick off Halloween month with another good classic Stephen King movie. And I just like how just like guy, famous author came across with his number one fan, who's a crazy bitch basically, isolated, basically almost like in the middle. Even though we see Kathy Bates could drive to town though, but it's like her house is like in the middle of the woods, we're basically far away from people. But yeah, Stephen King's Misery. Another classic Stephen King. I give this a thumbs up for. Like I said, Kathy Bates did an awesome job, deserved her Oscar. James Caan, may he rest in peace now. Sadly, he passed away just not that long ago. Yeah, he did a really good job too. I always love it. Why not? I learned it from you. You want it? Eat it till you choke on it. I love that. Or when his ankle is about to get broken, he's like, "Oh, God's sake!" Yeah. Rest in peace, James Caan. But Misery, definitely a classic. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next movie review for Halloween month, and we'll see you next time.